Morning, welcome to day 4, another glorious morning in Canada. Today we're in St. John. What have we got in St. John?
Reversing Rapids. It's where the St. John River meets the Bay of Fundy.
Which, as we know, has the highest tide in the world.
Yeah, as you can see now, this is low tide, and we've got whirlpools and things like that coming down the rapids. Now, if we was here at 3:45 this afternoon, you'd see the waterfall actually going the other way, because the high tide is higher than the rapids.
So basically all the water gushing in kind of overpowers the river, and then actually instead of flowing that way, it all goes that way and it goes upstream. And is it the only place in the world that does that?
I think so.
It's the only place in the world that does that. As you can see by the seaweed over there, if the tide were in, I'd actually be entirely underwater right now, but because it's out I can wander down and get a closer look at all these whirlpools. Although, thinking about it, being this close to the surface is actually probably the worst place in the world to film a whirlpool from, because you can't actually see on top of it. But I'll show you when we get back up. Do you know what? It's quite a nice place, Canada, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Why would anyone leave?
And we've got ace weather. Turns out every day we're here, we've got mid to high 20s in middle of September.
Yeah.
Here's a better view. A minute ago I was trespassing over there, now I'm on top of this bridge. Now you can see all of them in full force. So yeah, we're pretty much going to be staying in St. John today. This is in southern New Brunswick as we make our way across the state before we go north tomorrow. But there's plenty to be doing. A lot less driving today. We're going to be driving little routes between attractions in the city, but we're not actually doing any million-mile what are we doing?
I don't think it's that way.
We're lost. No million-mile treks unless we get lost and have to do detours, but there's plenty to be doing in the city. It's more of a chilled one today. Calm down from driving a bit, give Dad's bum a rest, and just see what St. John's got to offer. So this is what the falls look like from the bottom. This is the way it normally flows because it's low tide, so it's going the usual way. But when all the water from the Bay of Fundy comes in later in a few hours when it's high tide, basically that much water comes in at once that it pushes all the river that way and it reverses the flow of the river. Usually it's impossible because the Bay of Fundy tidal bore is so enormous. It actually does work here, and this is why it's the only place in the world where this kind of thing happens. So this is how powerful the normal downward current is, so you can imagine how powerful the high tide needs to be to push it all back and send the river that way. And if we get time later today, we'll come and have a look at high tide in a few hours time. But for now, we're off to Rockwood Park. What's going on here?
We're going kayaking.
I'm so paranoid about falling over. The last time I kayaked was in Macedonia on this big lake thing. I fell in and I nearly died. It was awful, worst experience ever. So I'm really scared to make any sudden movements. But so far, still breathing, and so's he. Are you drowned yet? Speed demon. Look at him go. The thing is, I've got all my belongings, including my phone and my wallet, everything in my pocket. I can't be arsed to fall over and get them soaked. At least last time when I fell out of a kayak, I had nothing of value on me. Look at the speed! I'm going sideways. Shit the bed. But anyway, look at this. Isn't this mint? I know it probably kind of looks like everything in Canada we're doing is full of water and green, but isn't it nice? Isn't it just nice? I kind of wish I could film while kayaking about, but unfortunately I wasn't born with 3 hands, so I can't. He's loving it though. It's all over there now. Look at him go. What an animal. What an animal. Get off. Now then. How are you going on? Apart from crashing into me.
water baby, and I don't even feel seasick. So there's a first. Captains of the sea. Britannia rules the waves once more.
There's no waves here though, it's a lake.
Right, aren't there? Ripples.
Britannia rules the ripples.
Yep.
That'll do. Birds! Actual animals! First wildlife ever spotted in Canada, I reckon. Duck things. Birds anyway. What do you reckon to St. John so far?
Alright, St. John's...
It's not even midday yet.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Bald eagle. Did you hear that?
Yeah, bald eagle pretending to be a crow.
I want to crash. Help! Disaster has struck once again.
Good.
What an arduous end. Magnificent, wasn't it? Look at it. Nice
Get
that.
over to the lily pads.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Rockwood Park in St. John. If you're interested in coming, it's free. There are 55 different walking trails, loads of lakes to do kayaking and stuff on. You can rent bikes, you can do everything. And interestingly, it was designed by the same guy who helped design Central Park in New York. So there's that. Decided not to film too much of the walking around because I'm sure you've seen quite enough of trees and walking trails and water by now, but it is dead nice. It's really quiet, it's really peaceful. And as with everywhere else in Canada so far, it is just spaced out. They're not congested places, they're well organised, signposts, all that bollocks. It's nice. It's a good place to go.
Best take care. Is anyone gonna
We've swapped the trees for the city, come for a mooch around St. John itself, the downtown old bit.
Uptown.
Is it uptown?
This is uptown.
What's the difference?
It's the other side of the city.
It's trying to call it south.
I don't know.
Anyway, there. We've had a bit of a wander. How would you describe St. John as a city?
Well, I think there's a lot more to it than we've seen. But we've had a quick scout around and it's pretty nice.
Yeah, St. John's pretty decent, but it is coming up to high tide, so we've got some sciencey magic to witness.
We have indeed.
Go back to the fort to have a look at it. And as if by magic, shall I explain to ladies and gentlemen?
Well, I think it's an optical illusion. You're just playing this in reverse from this morning.
Magnetic River by the hill thing.
We're now approaching high tide in the Bay of Fundy, so the tidal bore is flooding up where it meets the St. John's River, which normally flows that way, but because the volume of water in the Bay of Fundy is greater than the height of the river, it makes the river flow backwards.
It really is going backwards. If you remember how vigorously it was flowing that way earlier when we came a few hours ago, you'll see how weird it is to come back and it's now going the opposite way. And although you can't actually see it that well because there's trees in the way, it's not just going upwards a little bit, it's going all the way the wrong way. Look. Even this bit, even that bit over there. The whole thing's going backwards. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is yet another scientific phenomenon of Canada. And just in case you didn't believe me about the whole tidal thing, if we come this way and open this gate, this is the bit I jumped down from to stand down there.
All ready for a career in parachuting.
And I was talking bollocks to you from approximately there. And now it's deep. That's how much it's changed. And actually, I was only there about 3 hours ago. That is the wonder that is the reversing falls, or Les Chutes Reversibles of St. John. We haven't spoken enough French yet, I don't think. No one's going to know what we're saying.
Pretty impressive. I mean, it's a lot better than the Umber, isn't it?
I don't know, I won't go that far. And this very specific list of criteria for something like this is why this is the only place in the world where any kind of falls will go backwards half of the time. Science. Anyway, that is about that from our day in the splendid St. John, actually. Mint place, wasn't it?
It was.
It was a good place. Now driving 100 miles to a place called Knackawick, as I probably mispronounced, to where we're staying tonight. It's a bit north of where we are, and then we're going to continue tomorrow. That 100 miles interestingly takes our distance tally up to a total of about 1,600 kilometres or 1,000 miles. 4 days, so we're making movement. It's also worth noting that tomorrow is actually going to be quite a spicy one. There's going to be a lot of different kinds of stuff going on. Not going to spoil it for you, but it should be a decent day, especially if the weather stays like this. So what's your updated review on Canada? What do you reckon to it as an overall place?
Well, it's a pretty special place. It's, you know, it's just fantastic. I keep using that same word, but it really is.
And if fellow 49-year-olds looking for an holiday, how is it as an holiday place?
all right. It's everything that you'd think it'd be, and a bit more, really.
For now, we're off to the accommodation, but continue tomorrow. See you in a bit.